Hello everyone, I'm Ioana, and some of you know me as Berries and Spice. Welcome to the Afternoon Food Show, a space for culinary tales for serious gourmets. A curated digest of food news covering business, art, sustainability, culture, and more. In short, I read all the food news so that you don't have to, and then geek out about it. Okay, I promise I will come up with a better tagline soon. In today's edition, I will be discussing food delivery services, Andy Warhol's cookbook, organ meats, and, as polarizing as it may be, pizza toppings. Among other topics, of course. Let's get down to business. Actual business, like the one of food delivery services. It's clear that since the start of the pandemic, they've been the talk of the town. They were there when we were crying on the sofa, missing our mum's embrace. They were there when we were drowning in wine and Zoom calls. They were there when we ran out of frozen pizza and banana bread. On the other side of the door, someone dropped the bag. The bag, which would in turn be drowned in disinfectant and reheated to make sure it was COVID-free, because we were all freaking out for some reason at that point. Come on, admit it. You've also done that, right? But anyway, what is the cost of using food delivery apps? Well, for one, restaurants have to pay a commission fee of about 20 to 30%, and sometimes even more, just to be listed on these apps. I never thought I'd say that, but I feel like doing your taxes isn't all that bad all of a sudden. Oh, and you thought that was all? No, it's not. In order to be listed at the top, restaurants have to pay extra. You thought it was all just about proximity or delivery time? Don't be fooled. And no, it does not stop there. These apps push restaurants to offer discounts, putting even more pressure on an industry that was badly hit by the pandemic in the first place. What I'm trying to say is, if you truly wish to support your favorite restaurants, consider takeaway too. But did you know that food delivery apps are all just losing money? For example, Deliveroo made a loss of almost £224 million in 2020. 224 million. Imagine that. According to an article in TechCrunch, the company focuses on driving growth in what they call a nascent food market. A nascent food market? If this is just the birth of it, then what does a teenage food market look like? Enter dark kitchens, or ghost kitchens. In short, the teenage emo phase of this food delivery market. Many hidden in suburban areas, some are actually built by the food delivery companies themselves. Then you have the drivers speeding dangerously to deliver as many orders as they humanly can because that's how they get paid. And if you didn't think that was enough, let me give it a dystopian twist too. How about food delivered by drones? And of course, food engineered to hold its shape and texture until it reaches us. That's it, folks. No more medium rare burgers or pasta al dente for us hungry and picky eaters, at least for now. But I see this more like a food schism. No more blurry lines between food made for the restaurant and food made to be eaten at home. You know, when you're lying on your bed in front of Rick and Morty on a lazy Sunday, wiping your fingers full of barbecue sauce straight onto your hoodie. No, I'd never do that. My guess is that this great divide will create opportunities for both sides. For ghost kitchens, and not only to innovate cooking and packaging practices, making food more deliverable, for example. You know, the hot fries that spend so much time in a delivery box that they become as sad as the evergreen container ship talking to Oprah about how it got stuck in the Suez Canal. Well, I believe there will be innovations to keep those fries hot and crunchy despite the sauna roller coaster ride from the kitchen they were made in to yours. On the other hand, restaurants can focus on value creation and customization and, my favorite of all, experiential dining. In short, I believe we can expect there to be more opportunities to lick plates and listen to specific songs, all while enjoying a specific dish. And I believe that could happen in a bistro near you, not just in pompous Michelin star restaurants. Either way, food should be fun. But food isn't just about fun, pleasure, or subsistence. Although I have a feeling that since you're here, food is definitely not just subsistence for you. Swedish designer Linda Ring started baking bread as a way to recover from burnout. I've always believed in the therapeutic powers of cooking, but in my case that only works if I don't have to clean up afterwards. But anyway, her artful loaves, which by the way remind me of Picasso and Matisse, They're probably the only loaves I don't feel the immediate urge to cut into. You know, to satisfy those hashtag crumb desires before I post photos on Instagram and bread subreddits. And since we're on the topic of food art, did you know that Andy Warhol designed a cookbook? He did, with his friend interior decorator Susie Frankfurt. The cookbook's called Wild Raspberries, and it is a satire of the haute cuisine trends and the high society of the late 50s. For example, the recipe for piglet reads, contact Trader Vic's and order a 40-pound pig to serve 15. Have Hanley take the Carrie Cadillac to the side entrance to receive the pig at exactly 6:45. Rush home immediately and place on the open spit for 50 minutes. Remove and garnish with fresh crab apples. Out of the 34 copies that they made, one is going up for auction. The estimated price, it's between 25,000 and 40,000 euros. This edition's food art feature comes from artist Nanan Kang, corn with a pearl earring. Thank you Classical Cringe for sharing this beautiful non-GMO corn, and make sure you check out Nanan Kang's art on Instagram. And this month's food song is Pizza Guy by Touch Sensitive, because we're going to be talking about pizza afterwards. Go check it out on Spotify and follow my ever-growing food and cooking related playlist. You'll find the link to it in the video description. In other news, I have recently discovered Atlas Obscura's James Beard awarded food section, Gastro Obscura. I know I'm late, but so are you if you haven't been following their news until now. Their reads may be what brings that daily food enlightenment. You know, after the first sleepy scroll through Instagram. Isn't that what we all do once we stop snoozing our alarm? We all do that, right?
No.
I'm most definitely not addicted to social media. Anyway, one post in particular about using dill pickles as a topping made me crave talking about pizza. Not that I ever need an excuse to talk about pizza, but I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. It is okay to top your pizza with whatever you like. If you adhere to Neapolitan pizza theories, all fine by me. Go on, slice your buffalo mozzarella, but cut the fior di latte into strips and drizzle olive oil in a spiral motion only, never a zigzag. That is all fine by me. But I'm part of the rebel gang, you know, the one that brings anarchy to pizza making. At the end of the day, pizza is just a delicious flatbread. And there I said it. I guess soon there will be an article with the headline, "Food writer disappears mysteriously after claiming that pizza is just a flatbread." I accept my fate. I am, after all, a dissident of the Neapolitan pizza tradition. This is my confession. Not long ago, I made an experiment with lacto-fermented pineapple and wild boar chorizo. My only sense of guilt came from the fact that I used an exotic ingredient instead of a local and seasonal one, and it was probably not farmed sustainably either. But I had to do it, to prove to myself that pineapple on pizza can work. And it did, of course. I've committed even more pizza crimes since, and still, I plead innocent. 'Cause they were damn delicious. I've tried Marmite and cheddar, gorgonzola and kimchi, bresaola and Asian XO sauce. I even added sauerkraut to my pizza. As for the dill pickles mentioned in Gastro Obscura's post, they're the best addition to my pastrami and taleggio pizza, another absolute favorite of mine. In fact, I think adding ferments and pickles to pizza really takes it to a new level. In any case, I'm a pacifist, and I'm all for the peaceful coexistence of both the purist and the anarchist camp. Black pudding on pizza, anyone? And speaking of black pudding, when's the last time you had meat other than muscle? A little offal, a pig's trotter, liver, sweetbreads, tongue, brain, and the like. Did you know that in industrial meat production, up to 60% of an animal can sometimes go to waste? And that is simply because we are picky eaters. And then we blame the cows for greenhouse gas emissions because they fart too much. Well, how about we look at the other side of the coin? I grew up in post-communist Romania. My favorite dishes as a child were fried brains. The thought of my grandma's tongue with olives and tomato sauce makes me drool instantly. And there was no winter holiday without some tripe soup. But I guess that's what happens when you're not yet influenced by our society of abundance and luxury. I never considered those to be unusual ingredients, because they shouldn't be in the first place. Throughout history, organ meats were present on all tables, those of the poor and those of the rich. Somehow, it was in the 18th century that something went wrong. Organ meats became poor people's food, and to this day, we still think of them as that. But here's something interesting. Even fish and seafood achieved higher status. Did you know that caviar used to be considered poor people's food too? I mean, you wouldn't eat veal's testicles, but would pay hundreds of euros for some fish eggs? Oh, and lobster used to be fed to prisoners in the US. Oysters, they weren't too popular either. Now, slurping a half-alive mollusk comes with glasses of champagne and #decadence and oh my god, this is so good. So, stop acting like children and start eating organ meats too instead of letting them go to waste. If you're a meat eater in the first place. If not, continue enjoying all the delicious vegetables there are out there. Oh, but I don't like how it tastes. I know you're going to say that. It is, after all, a cultural thing too. But did you used to hate olives but love them now? Or any other ingredient? I'm sure there's something you used to hate and love now. Well, you can do the same with organ meats, just in a conscious way. In The Art and Science of Food Pairing, the authors explain that you can hack yourself into liking things you don't right now. You need to expose yourself to those in combination with ingredients you really like. I honestly think it's super cool to pick an ingredient and work on liking it. I don't really like beets, but I try to have them more often because I'd kind of like to like them, and they look kind of cool, you know? But of course, there are tips and tricks on making organ meats more palatable. You can resort to mincing or chopping if you don't like their aesthetic. And while I'm not sure why you wouldn't like to look at or touch lungs, since they're basically one of the vital organs and they keep us alive, I for one will accept that excuse, 'cause society. You can make use of spices and herbs if you're not used to the flavors. Haggis may be using offal, but the aromas of nutmeg and other winter spices makes it taste amazing. It is our duty to consume an entire animal, not just because of environmental reasons, but for moral ones too. To respect the animal, those who raised it, those who killed it, so that we meat eaters don't have to do it. The US launched an interesting campaign during World War II. It was during a meat shortage, and their purpose was to encourage people to eat more organ meats. They promoted those as variety meats, and asked consumers why they don't eat more organ meats in the first place. Okay, the effects of the campaign didn't last long because of war propaganda, and today the US wastes more food than any other country in the world. Okay, off to more positive food news now. I know Reddit has gained quite a lot of media attention since GameStop, but this time it's not about the stock exchange, but its inoffensive gourmet counterpart. The Snack Exchange is a subreddit where people connect with each other by sending each other boxes of foods from their country. It has existed for about 11 years, but what better time to travel through food than the time when we cannot travel at all? And speaking of food as a force for good, architect Ronald Rael started building ovens along the US-Mexico border in order to make migrants' life a little easier. His aim is to celebrate their heritage, diverse food cultures, and help build a community as migrants from Latin America wait to receive asylum in the US. Since bread has been a prevailing topic in today's video, did you know that the founding father of the mighty sandwich was none other than a zealous gambler named John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich? Who knew that the sandwich was just an excuse to be happily fed, all while sitting down, gambling your days away? Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel and follow Berries and Spice on Instagram. Now, I gotta run to the office, dibs, I'm changing my last name to Countess of Sandwich. But before I leave you, special hat tip to Ala Dumitrake from Bowls Bucharest for giving me the idea to start this show in the first place, to B Films for the lovely intro shots, and to Luke Danfield for composing the tune. Thanks for watching, bye!